southwest of Houston, Texas, in the city of Cypress for this key SWAC matchup as the Alcorn Braves take on the Prairie Panthers. It's a 1AA matchup, and it's coming up next. In Cypress, Texas for this SWAC 1AA matchup as the Braves of Alcorn take on the Panthers of Prairie View A&M. Hello, everyone. Charlie Neal along with my partner, Jay Walker, the former NFL quarterback, and welcome to college football prime time. And when you talk about great facilities, Jay, it doesn't get much better than this.
Yeah, I mean, I know they love high school football here in the state of Texas. I didn't know they liked it this much. This is a gorgeous facility, 11,000 seats. If you don't get excited to play football here in this facility, you're not a football player. These guys are looking forward to it.
You're certainly right. Alcorn State comes in with a dynamic duo as far as receivers are concerned. Talking about Hughes and Spiller. Between them this year, only one touchdown reception. They're going to have to step up their game if Alcorn's going to have any success this year.
Yeah, those are very disappointing numbers for the talent that Hughes and Spiller have. When you talk about Nate Hughes and Charlie Spiller, this is arguably one of the best wide receiver duos in the SWAC conference. But to their defense, they've said they've had trouble at the quarterback position. Quarterback throwing interceptions. You can't blame it on the wide receivers, but they got to step it up if Alcorn's going to compete for the SWAC title.
Prairie View has thrown the ball quite a bit, but they also like to go to their running game, and they go to the running game with Arnell Fontenot.
Yeah, they throw the football a little bit, but they're dependent on the run. And when you're talking about running the ball for Prairie View A&M, you're talking about Arnell Fontenot. He's a great running back that makes things happen in small pieces of space. Take a look at the ability to cut in small areas. That's the mark of a great running back. Fontenot's got it going. Last season, he almost rushed for 1,000 yards. He's got to step it up right now. All
right, 58th meeting between Prairie View and Alcorn. Prairie View last beat Alcorn at the turn of the century. And we'll be back with the opening kickoff from Cypress, Texas in just a moment. Welcome back to Cypress, Texas. You're watching ESPNU College Football, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Along with Jay Walker, I'm Charlie Neal, and glad you could join us for college football prime time on this Thursday night. These two Southwestern athletic teams getting together. There's you look at Henry Frazier, who was the head coach of the Panthers of Prairie View A&M in his third season. Spent many years as a head coach at Bowie State and had a big success record there in 5 years. 19-12 his last 3 at Bowie out of the CIAA. And his counterpart on the other side of the field, Dr. Johnny Thomas, in his 9th year at Alcorn State, has had 5 straight years in which his team has finished 500 or better. But they're looking for their first win in conference play tonight, while Prairie View is looking to go at 500. Temperature right now 90 degrees, very little wind, and the humidity is very low, surprisingly, with the high temperature.
Yeah, you know, I was out there on the field sweating. It seemed steamier than just 42% humidity earlier, but the shade has come in. So fortunately for these players today, they're not playing in the sunlight. They're playing under the night lights.
Charlie Spiller is the deep man to receive the kick. There he is, Spiller, the senior out of Woodville, Mississippi, who was a preseason all-conference selection as a kickoff returner. And he needs to pick the ball up as it goes into the end zone, and he downs it there, and it'll be brought out to the 20. So Alcorn State gets the ball to start the game. First down and 10, and they'll be led by a young man by the name of Tony Hobson, a sophomore from Jim Hill High in Jackson, Mississippi. He'll be the quarterback of record, wearing number 6. Came into the game with just 2 touchdown passes and 6 interceptions. Not the way you want to start the season, Bill.
Yeah, Coach Dr. Thomas told me he's got a very short leash with Hobson as his quarterback this evening.
And he's starting with an empty backfield. He has Rose in motion, and he's throwing out on the flanker screen to Rose, and Rose is surrounded by a bunch of gold jerseys and just gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Let's look at the offensive line for the Braves of Alcorn, with Tolmark and Todd Johnson at the guards. Duckworth, along with Walter Jackson at the tackles. Jermaine Pruitt is the center. He's a transfer from Wamba Community College from Columbus, Mississippi. Wide receivers, Hughes along with Spiller. We talked about them. The running backs are Cooper and Williams. And the tight end is Chania Puyu, as they keep the ball on the ground and go straight ahead. We'll look at the Prairie View defense. The down lineman, McGee, a good one. Watch out for him. He'll make a lot of tackles tonight, along with Marcus King, Zach Haynes, and John Johnson. The linebackers are Gary Hicks, Van Salier, and Chandre Ward. And the secondary of Dungy, Fobbs, Beck, and Ford. The man in motion is Hughes. And the option to the right side, the quarterback keeps it and gets the first down. That is Tony Hobson on the carry. Jermaine McGee, we said we hear his name called a lot tonight. The senior from Oakland, California. There he is, number 17, the leading tackler for the Prairie View A&M Panthers, making the stop that time.
Yeah, and anybody that's not used to watching an Alcorn State offense, they like to run the football, but they don't run directly at you. They're an offense that runs a lot of gadget plays. They'll do 4 wide receivers on one side, empty backfield, 3 people in the backfield. They're just a gimmicky offense, but they're fun to watch.
Hobson going back to pass, throws in the middle, and he threaded the needle between 3 gold jerseys and has it complete to Hughes. Val Ford up to make the stop defensively, and we have a player shaken up on the play.
Yeah, you take a look there, and this is actually O.C. Brown finding the soft spot in the Prairie View secondary. And the key is they took their time, and he was able to gear down and stop his momentum to make himself big to make the catch.
And O.C. Brown limps off the field. He's on the sideline right now, but it's another first down for the Braves of Alcorn. The man in motion, number 81, and that's Arsenault. And they keep the ball on the ground, running it with Cooper. Barnabas Cooper, the junior out of Greenwood, Mississippi. Paul Johnson, number 25, defensively on the stop.
And that's the problem. When you've got an offense that likes to run a lot of gadget plays, when it's time to just line up and get physical and drive people off the ball, they don't do that often, so they weren't used to it. So they can line up in a power formation, but still only come up with 2 yards on the running play. 2nd down and 7. Give them 3 on that last one. The ball right at the midfield stripe. The Braves of Alcorn started the season with a loss to Louisiana Monroe, Arkansas Pine Bluff, and Alabama State before beating Morehouse 23-6 last Saturday out in Los Angeles. From the shotgun in an empty backfield. Long pass downfield. O.C. Brown is out there. Can't get to it. O.C. Brown was the closest receiver to it, defending Jason Fobbs down there, and he had split the defenders and got behind everybody again. If the ball had been on the money, he'd have had a touchdown. Yeah, you know, anytime you throw the ball down the seam, you got to stick that ball in there. That's not a throw you put a lot of air on. You get it to your wide receiver as quickly as you can, and in that case there, that's just poor decision making by the quarterback on the trajectory in which to throw that ball. He ran down the middle of the seam wide open, but he just overthrew him.
Alcorn 3rd down conversions this year, 3rd and 7 right now, 25% coming into the game. Not a great stat there.
That's painful to watch. I mean, 25% means you're doing a whole lot of 3 and outs and putting your defense on the field often.
Again, Hobson lays it up there for Spiller, and he has it at the 10-yard line. They'll mark it right at about the 9. A long play for Charlie Spiller. Gib Dungy covering on the play. It's good for 40 yards.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I jumped on Hobson last time about the trajectory, but this is the big-time throw. Knowing you're going to get hit, one-on-one coverage, allow your wide receiver an opportunity to run up underneath the football and make the catch. By him hanging the ball in the air, that gave Spiller the opportunity to readjust and make this grab, and this is a fantastic catch by Charlie Spiller, adjusting his body, staying under control, and always knowing where the football was.
One of the hardest things for a receiver to do, to turn all the way around at full speed, and he did a good job. It's 1st and goal, and here's Cooper trying to go off the right side, back to the line of scrimmage, and that is it, as he is stopped by Gib Dungy, the man who was beaten on the previous play by Spiller.
Yeah, you know, anytime a guy gets beat, they always like to come back and make a big play in the red zone. I've seen many times where a defensive back has given up a long pass, and they come back on the same drive and intercept the ball or tip it. In this case, you've got Dungy, the defensive back, trying to do whatever he can to help his team stop Alcorn from putting 7 points on the board.
Dungy from Cypress, Texas, played his high school ball right here in this town at Cy-Fair High. Play action this time. Hobson looking into the end zone. Out of the end zone. It's incomplete. Closest man to it offensively was Shania Pugh, the sophomore tight end out of Waynesboro, Mississippi.
And this is one, you know, you got to realize when you're in the red zone, things happen quicker. Get back there and fire the ball. You can't loft the ball like this in the air with 2 gold jerseys around there. So Prairie View had 2 defenders there, yet he's still lobbing that ball there. So early on in the game, I'm questioning his decision as a quarterback and how to throw the ball, how to attack the defense.
They've only scored 1 touchdown by way of the pass in the red zone this year. They're 8 of 11 in red zone offense. Here's a running play by the quarterback Hobson. It looked like a quarterback draw, but it didn't fool anybody as the defense was ready for it. Zach Haynes, one of the men to come up to make the stop defensively, and it'll bring up a 4th down field goal situation. And let's look at the defense and Haynes.
You know, anytime you got to run a quarterback that's trying to be active, you got to tackle him at the waist, and whatever you grab, hold on to. Grab him high at the waist and make sure you slide down and get the ankles, because you can't run unless you bring the ankles with you.
23-yard field goal by Jonathan Williams is good. And with 10:31 remaining in the first quarter, Alcorn gets on the board first. They drove all the way down the field from their own 20. ESPNU College Football is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. You have to be here. 3-0 our score in Cypress, Texas. A gorgeous night. As you look at the Alcorn State sideline, they took the opening kickoff and drove all the way down the field. Had to settle for a 23-yard field goal, but it was an 11-play, 74-yard drive that consumed 4:29 off the clock.
Yeah, they hit him with the big play, and when they got to the red zone, the offense kind of fizzled. And what you'll notice about teams that are struggling at the quarterback position, they don't have productive red zone offenses. They're always settling for field goals whenever they drive down the field. So until they get the quarterback play a little bit better, they'll continue to struggle in the red zone.
Jonathan Williams, who kicked the field goal, he is perfect in field goals this year, has not missed one. Will kick this one off, and not a good job by him kicking it off, and is fielded by one of the up men for Prairie View, and that is Julian Norman, one of the running backs who was one of the up men, and it gives him fairly good field position as Dwayne Taylor made the stop on the special teams. So the first possession of the evening by the Prairie View Panthers. They'll start at their own 36, and you look at Chris Gibson, the junior from Forestville, Maryland, came here from Bowie State, transferred after Henry Frazier got the job after being the head coach at Bowie State. And they keep the ball on the ground again. Fontenot on the carry and back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Let's look at the offensive line for the Panthers of Prairie View. Colley, along with Deal are the tackles. Roy and Jackson the guards, and Bennett Fagan is the center. The backs and receivers, you've got Adia along with Ison. The tight end is Revolta. Wilson and Fontenot are the running backs. Again, Fontenot on the carry, trying to go off the left side, gets out to about the 41-42 yard line. Lee Robinson, number 56 there defensively, to make the stop. Let's look at the defensive line for the Braves of Alcorn, with Jackson and Butler at the ends, Prince Lewis and Robert Brown the tackles, the linebackers Lester Mosley, Antonio Cooper, and Lee Robinson, and the secondary Deshaun Lewis, Idley Etienne, Charleston Brown, and my main man Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones is in the house, y'all.
Yeah. Play action this time under pressure. Quarterback steps up but will not get away. Gets back to a line of scrimmage, maybe a yard up to about the 44-yard line. Brought down from behind by Antonio Cooper, which will bring up a 4th down punting situation.
And part of the reason the coaching staff was excited about getting Chris Gibson back at quarterback is because of this, the mobility, the ability when nothing's there to take off and run and turn a play which could have been a 12-yard sack into getting back to the line of scrimmage. He's got great legs and great athleticism.
So that'll bring on the punting unit for the Panthers of Prairie View. Punting also is Eric Hernandez. Had not been punting the last couple games. Here's Hughes, Nate Hughes on the return. Watch out, very dangerous. Trying to slip a couple tackles and finally dropped it about the 32-yard line by Ricardo Hill. Very dangerous return man. Nate Hughes, averaging 18 yards per return. Almost broke one there. Downtown Houston, Texas, which hosted the Super Bowl 2 years ago, the NBA All-Star Game this past year. And we're a little bit northwest of the city in Cypress for this Southwestern Athletic Conference matchup, along with Jay Walker. I'm Charlie Neal. Alcorn with their second possession of the afternoon, and they give the ball off to Michael Shepard, the running back, the junior out of Pascagoula, Mississippi. John Johnson there defensively to make sure he didn't get too far.
You know, we talk about what's going to take to win this football game. Well, the keys, I think, in this game are if you're Alcorn State, the playmakers got to make plays. And we saw Charlie Spiller with a big play earlier. They need him to make more plays in the quarterback position. He's got an interception to touchdown ratio of 6 to 1. You got to turn that around. If you're Prairie View A&M, this has been an up and down season all season long. You need the real Prairie View team to show up tonight. And when Alcorn turns over the football, capitalize and turn it into points.
Something they haven't done so far this year. And we get a timeout being called by the Braves of Alcorn, wanting to talk things over. Don't forget, Saturday, ESPNU has a full day of college football. The day begins in the Big Ten, and it starts at noon Eastern when the Purdue Boilermakers, coming off of a loss to the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, take on the number 19 ranked Iowa Hawkeyes, who are trying to rebound from a loss to Ohio State. It's homecoming for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Then at 3:30, ACC rivals clash as the Maryland Terrapins face Calvin Johnson and the number 18th ranked Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. College football presented by Allstate on ESPNU Saturday. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Prairie View, founded in 1876. And they're located in Prairie View, Texas. We're about halfway between Houston and where Prairie View is. Enrollment over 8,000 students. Dr. George is their president.
And what a beautiful campus it was. I mean, you talk about a school in the middle of nowhere, but when you get on campus, you're in a beautiful facility.
Second down and 10. Quarterback tripped down trying to get away from the defense on a little rollout to the right. Tony Hobson couldn't get his footing, and it'll bring up a third down. And it's interesting, you just call a timeout and look at what happens. You lose yardage.
Yeah, you come out and the quarterback is upset that his offensive lineman kind of tripped him up there a little bit, but you got to high step out of that one. A lot of things can happen when you're getting that close to somebody. Things can happen. Would have liked to seen him keep his balance a little bit more because they had a wide open wide receiver. You take a look here, you'll see after the play action fake, he's going to get up on. This is the end of the run there, but there's contact between him and the pulling guard.
Back to pass on third and long, and he's in trouble. Fumbles the football.
Wow.
And
you just can't do that.
No, indeed. And the man who created the havoc was Jermaine McGee, number 17, and the ball is spotted all the way back at the 1-yard line. Boy, you're talking about shooting yourself in the foot. Call a timeout, you trip, you lose yards, and then you bring up a third down, get sacked, almost sacked, and then you fumble the ball away.
Yeah, I mean, this is a screen pass here, and you got rules on screens, and actually that ball should have been called incomplete. He threw the ball forward and kind of lost it, but you got certain rules on screens. You don't get sacked, and you don't throw interceptions, and he was getting ready to do both on the last play.
And they punted away.
That's another mistake. I mean, if you're Prairie View A&M, you've got to run up and catch that ball and get some running room. You got the team pinned, but it seems like teams that don't have winning records seem to do the little things wrong over and over again to compound the mistakes.
So they wound up punting from their own one. They lost 31 yards on that drive.
I don't know how to count backwards. I don't know how to count backwards, Charlie. I'm a quarterback. I count moving forward.
That was a 44-yard punt, so it wasn't a bad punt to get them out of the end zone and things of this nature. As you look at Alcorn leading the series 43-14.
They're dominating.
Yes, they are. And here's Prairie View running the ball down the right side. I'll tell you, what a good run that time for Kerry Wilson before Charleston Brown made the stop defensively. But there you see number 44 from Desperahan, Louisiana.
Yeah, he's lined up as the fullback a lot of times, and anytime the fullback can get those carries, they know how to make the most out of them. Good job at using the straight arm there. He got a little present there. He's a good lead blocker, but they're letting him tilt the rock a little bit this evening.
Trying to come to the near side, but the defense was not fooled. Number 58 there to stop him, making the stop defensively is Martin Jackson.
Good play.
Martin is a preseason number 1 all Southwestern Athletic Conference. First team as a defensive end, a senior out of Wiggins High in New Orleans, Louisiana. Came into the game with 18 tackles, 8 solo. Brings up a second down after the loss of about 3. Second and 13. a pass out the flat and is caught and out of bounds after the reception. The reception made by Marlon Allen. Etienne was the man who made the stop defensively.
Yeah, and this is a great play by the quarterback, Chris Gibson. They got a naked bootleg with his back turned to the defense. Once he realizes he can't get outside the pocket, stop, pull up, and get rid of the football. That's a great play by Chris Gibson. Shows up as just a 4 or 5 yard completion, but the fact that he did get sacked and he got rid of the football and completed the pass shows you the leadership that they like in Gibson.
Did 3 things correctly, huh?
Yeah, 3 for 3. You grade out 100% every play, you'll be a star.
It's 3rd down and 8 now for the Prairie View Panthers. Short drop by Gibson, in trouble, and he is knocked down. I'll tell you what, a defensive play by that man, number 98, Mr. Brown, Robert Brown. He just took the blocker right back to the quarterback.
Yeah, you know, you got a team doing a 3-step drop. He got some momentum behind him, and you're trying to slow down Robert Brown, who weighs 300 pounds. He's got a load when he gets that momentum going. Anytime defensive tackles can disrupt the 3-step passing game, you're in trouble.
Already a field goal on the board by the Braves of Alcorn. This one will be a 38-yard field goal attempt for the Prairie View Panthers and Hernandez. The kick is up, it's long enough, and it is good. So we have a tie ball game here. Back-to-back field goals from the respective field goal kickers. And there's Mr. Hernandez. He was 0 for 1 coming in. Missed a 36-yarder a week ago, but hit a 38-yarder today, and we're all tied. Offensive line coach for Prairie View, not very happy because they were so close to the goal line and couldn't get into the end zone, and he's giving them what they call down the country.
He's letting them have it. You know, this is a team that they can't push the ball in there, and anytime you have to settle for field goals, the offensive line, they got to take it personal.
Yeah. As you look at Mr. Hernandez, just completed a field goal. He's 1 for 1 this year. Missed a 36-yarder against Grambling a week ago, and he had to step in as a field goal kicker this year because they lost Mario Sanchez, who was a preseason first-team all-conference selection. Sanchez left school, so Hernandez, who had been just a punter, wound up doing the kicking, and he's trying to kick it away from Spiller. And Spiller has to chase it for the second time today into the end zone. He's going to bring it out.
Mistake.
And he's going to be dropped before he can get to the 10-yard line. As you said, a mistake. He probably should have downed it after the ball went into the end zone. And it'll be at the 7-yard line as Akeem Muhammad did a great job there.
Yeah, I mean, he got this ball rolled into the end zone. He's 2 yards deep. You got to know, take a knee. I mean, they're getting to him before he gets to the 10 yards out. And then you wonder why teams that are 1 and 3 are 1 and 3. You know, things like this add up. When you make little mistakes, now all of a sudden you've got an offense, you got to go 90-plus yards to score. That's just logistically, that doesn't happen often.
Not at all. Ken Williams presented fullback. Shepard gets the call, trying to go to the right side, and nothing doing. Jermaine McGee, the leading tackler on this team. He led all defensive linemen in tackles last year with 33 6 losses.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good-looking football player. He's one of those motor-type guys. Goes about 6'2", 215 pounds roughly, but when he comes at that end, he really lets back and lets it go. And if he can get you in his eyesight in the backfield, more than likely he's going to make a big play behind the line of scrimmage.
From Oakland, California, went to San Lorenzo High out there. And again, they keep the ball on the ground with Shepard on the carry. He gets maybe a half a yard, and that's about it. This is college football prime time, Thursday night edition. Glad you could join us here in Cypress, Texas, for this Southwestern Athletic Conference matchup, along with Jay Walker. I'm Charlie Neal. The Alcorn Braves in the visiting white jerseys. Prairie View in the home goal. It is 3rd down and 9 for the Alcorn Braves. Alcorn 2 of 4 in 3rd down conversions so far tonight. Came into the game 25%, and the quarterback on the keeper may get, and it's going to be shy. Gets it about to the 16-yard line, and he's going to be about a yard shy. And to bring up 4th down as Chandre Ward, number 9, came up to make the stop defensively.
You know, one of the things we talk about Tony Hobson, about him, you know, moving the football and his decision to throw the ball. You see the total yards for the first quarter, basically. But one thing about him, physically, he's got it all. And that's what frustrates the coaches. He can make every pass. He can make all the throws. He can make all the runs. You saw the athletic ability there. They just want him to put it all together and become the great quarterback they think he has potential to be.
Tim Buckley punting it away. And it'll go out of bounds after it takes a pretty good bounce at about the 42-yard line. Don't forget to lace up your skates tomorrow as the college hockey season begins with the Icebreaker tournament at 4:30 Eastern. It's the Vermont Catamounts facing the number 14 Colgate Raiders. Then at 8 Eastern, the Denver Pioneers face the number 8 Miami of Ohio Redhawks. It's college hockey on ESPNU on Friday. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com.
Well, hockey season, before you know it, we'll be talking about the Frozen Four getting ready to get underway.
Yeah, that's right. Off to the right side and just almost breaking a tackle. They keep the ball on the ground, and defending was Antonio Cooper. But what a run by Fontenot there. He almost broke that one.
Yeah, that's the key. You know, one of the things that Coach Frazier and staff said we have to do is get the football to our best football player. And you asked everybody on offense, they said it's Arnell Fontenot, and I like their commitment to him. They said we've only been running him 8 to 10 times a game. We've got to get him 20-plus touches to let his athleticism take over.
And they're well on their way to doing that today. Little cross. Looked like a counter type play, but not much happening there. Let's look at why this game is so important to these two teams. You look at the Western Division of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Southern University is on top right now after starting off a little shaky, followed by Texas Southern, who's surprising a couple people this year. Grambling is another surprise. They're 1-3, 1-1 in conference play. Prairie View 1-2, Arkansas Pine Bluff. But look at Alcorn State still looking for their first win in the SWAC this season. And again, the running game is getting very, very tough for the Prairie View Panthers. Anthony Whedon, freshman from Stafford, Texas, was the man on the carry that time, number 14. As you look at Henry Frazier, he was a quarterback in college at Bowie State. And that's going to be the end of the first quarter here. All tied at 3 apiece. 4th and 1 facing Prairie View when we return. As we start the second quarter here in Cypress, Texas, a neutral site for the Southwestern Athletic Conference matchup. You're watching ESPNU College Football presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Along with Jay Walker, Charlie Neal as the sun starting to set here in Texas. We're about 8 hours away from the Alcorn campus, 15 minutes away from the Prairie View campus, believe it or not. As you look at the first half stats. Well, first quarter stats, -3 yards. Oh, we got movement. And that was a 4th down and 1 play, and I think that Prairie View was going to go for it. They may have lost yards depending on who caused who to move. They're going to call false start on Prairie View, and those are the kind of mistakes that really, really hurt you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you come out there, you got
look at Coach Frazier.
You got good field position in which you're in that part of the field where you can decide to take a chance and go for it.
Number 67, replay, 4th down.
You know, you're in that part of the field where you can decide to go for it. It takes a lot of courage for a head coach to go for it. And then your whole right side of the line jumps off sides to make it 4th and 6, punting the ball away and drive killer.
That was Wesley Yarborough, who was the man guilty of moving too maturely. And we're going to get a punting situation for the Braves again. Tim Buckley.
They fake it. They need to block.
But didn't get it. No.
No.
They come up with the fake, and they turn it over on downs.
Wow, you know, and that's really tough because you're putting your defense in a tough situation. You decide to go for the fake with 6 yards there. They try to get a lead blocker out there, but give the Alcorn State special teams a good job of reacting. A couple guys got fooled on the inside, but the outside contained, never gave up that outside divider. The key to stopping that play there was Clyde Mills, the DB in there. He was responsible for the outside. He forced the Prairie View runner back to cut back on the inside, didn't give him all that room outside. So one person stopped that play for Alcorn State.
And the Alcorn Braves Braves now with great field position at the 47-yard line. Play action. Throwing long down the sideline, overthrown the receiver. In fact, the defender had a better chance of catching that one than Arsenault, as Hakeem Muhammad was down there defending. Log on to your new online source for all things college sports, ESPNU.com. This online gateway will connect you to all the college sports content from ESPN, combining the latest news with an expanded collection of new exclusive materials, scores, columns, video, and audio highlights, podcasts, live streaming games, and much, much more. Log on to ESPNU.com today. We are college sports. 2nd down and 10 for the Braves of Alcorn. This time on the ground, they keep the ball with Cooper on the carry. You know, they thought they were going to have a young man by the name of Jeremy McCoy, who averaged 125 yards a game in their lineup this year, but he was denied a 5th year of eligibility. He was a preseason first-team all-conference selection, so Cooper basically gets the job by default.
Yeah, you know, anytime you're counting on somebody, especially a senior that will be your senior leader, you were so dependent on him in more ways than just running the football. In your passing game, protecting your quarterback, a starting running back is so valuable to any offense.
3rd down. Here's a pass again, and it's batted away. This one's incomplete, so that'll bring up a 4th down. And, you know, you're speaking of that and how productive McCoy was a year ago. The first 5 games, he had 492 yards and 3 touchdowns. This year, the team only 449 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, that'll slow you down. You know, they got a lot of things they're just not doing right over there at Alcorn State. And one is they're not protecting the quarterback. Quarterback's getting hit a lot. And we got a young quarterback that's had his confidence rattled. You've got to take it upon yourself to really protect this young guy so he can feel comfortable. But when you got QBs dropping back and getting their arms hit, trust me, nothing will make a quarterback more scared than having his arm yanked on a pass.
He just gets into the end zone. Buckley with his 3rd punt of the evening. That one was good for 42.
Daddy, I'm not.
3 is our score here in the 2nd quarter. 13:37 the time remaining. Here's your coach for the Prairie View Panthers. Henry Frazier III has won more games than the 6 previous coaches here. 7 coaches at Prairie View since 1991, and the 5 wins they had last year were the most since 1988. In fact, their last winning season was 1976, in the year they went 6-5.
And to think with 10 wins in this short time he's been there,
yeah,
he's passed 6 of them all together. So, I mean, you know, I'll let you know, that's credit for him. You know, I think anytime you talk about Prairie View, a lot of people just associate them with the longest losing streak in the history of 1A, but to their defense, many people don't realize that when they were losing all those games, they weren't giving out any football scholarships.
Right.
They were a non-scholarship sport at the school. They stayed in the SWAC conference, so every team they were playing had more scholarships. But now the good news for Prairie View, they got a bright young coach in Henry Frazier. His future looks bright, and the team is starting to win. They're starting to expect to compete, and if they can keep it going and actually learn how to throw the football a little bit, they'll be much better off. But this program's on the rise.
The only charter member school to the SWAC that's remaining right now, as you look at Fontenot trying to go off the right side for a gain of only 1. And you talked about that stretch in which they went about 80 games in a 7-year period between 91 and 97, and they won no games. They didn't even field a team in 1990. Yeah,
you know, they probably should have dropped out the SWAC conference for a couple years. I know they were one of the charter members, but that really put the kids at a disadvantage. When you got scholarship athletes at Grambling, Southern, Valley, Jackson State, all these schools competing against Prairie View, you really are putting the kids at a disadvantage. But I think as a road, they're going to grow. They got full scholarship allotments now, and the future is bright for Prairie View A&M Panther football.
3rd down and 9 for Prairie View A&M from the shotgun. Gibson going to work. Out on the flat to the near side. Not much dancing room over here. They finally get a pass complete, but it wasn't much running room for the receiver after he made the catch, and that was Nacobia.
Yeah, look at the spacing here. You got 2 guys, if you look about 12 yards down the field, 2 gold jerseys right there by each other. That's poor spacing in the passing game. You wonder why they only throw for 87 yards a game. When you don't have the spacing or your passing game down, your quarterback has to settle for a 3-yard dump-off pass compared to having the curl route wide open because one guy didn't clear it out.
2nd punt for Hernandez tonight. It's off a good one. Drives Hughes all the way back inside the 40-yard line. We're going to get a holding or pushing the back, illegal block even though he has a good return, but that's going to come all the way back because it was a clipping penalty.
Very questionable, very questionable. Watch the defender here as we go on the break. Watch the defender turn his back. The defender took a poor angle, and he forced his block in the black. I don't see how you call this here.
Well, because you can. He was blocked in the back. Man hiding behind the the down marker is Clyde Mills, who was called for the block in the back. He knew we were looking for him. And here it is, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I think, he's got position on, but what happens when he makes the move here, all he had to do was stand still and hold him there, and there wouldn't have been a block of the bench. So
yeah, but you saw his arms go out.
But I think what happened when he extended his arms, that got him. And the coach is sitting there understanding. He's saying, I don't want to hear that. You lowered your shoulder, you blocked him in the back, but had he had the football IQ just to stand there, almost like a pick in basketball, they couldn't have called it on him.
First down and 10 for the Braves of Alcorn. A little counter, misdirection with Ken Williams, the fullback, carrying. Gets it out to about the 35-yard line. A gain of 7 yards on the play before Hakeem Muhammad led the charge defensively for the Prairie View Panthers.
And when I talked to Coach Thomas before the game, I said, what are you going to do to get the running game going? He said he's so excited to have Ken Williams back. He said he's just a pure fullback. He can run the ball. He's a great lead blocker. And you see here he's got the strength to make the first guy miss it. Oh, yeah. That's what you want from any fullback. You got to have the ability to lower that shoulder into somebody's chest and punish him.
5'10", 286. The fullback goes far as weight. A great block, and here's a good run by Cooper. Cooper still on his feet and across the 45 to the 47, and he gets a first down for the Alcorn Braves before Val Ford came up to make the stop.
Yeah, take a look at Ken Williams, the fullback here again. Dr. Thomas knows what he's talking about. The fullback 35 on the right side. Wow! That's called a floor. That's a pancake block from the fullback. That's punishing there. I can see what the excitement is about. He knows how to play fullback.
And 286 at 5'10". You would think he's a tackle or a lineman or something like that, Jay. But
good old-fashioned tackle eligible play every now and then they're calling. But that's what you want. If you're a fullback and you're going to be short stacked, you got to like to hit people. You don't want to shake people in the hole. You want to get physical and run them over. And every now and then the game of football is all about smash mouth, running people over.
Cooper with 12 yards, and here again is Williams on the carry. The fullback trying to get back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it before a host of gold jerseys is there to meet him.
Yeah, when you got that type of size on you, one thing you won't do is lose yards. So if you can just lean forward at 286 pounds, you'll at least get back to the line of scrimmage. But, you got to tighten up that little roll he's got there. He got, a couple donuts there. And, he's not put together pretty, but he's effective. That jersey's a little bit tight.
A little tight. Prairie View on defense, Alcorn on offense. They were in the same position, that is the Braves, going into this game against Alcorn a year ago, 1-3, as they keep the ball again on the ground. And it was Bernardus Cooper on the carry. He had 121 yards last Saturday and a touchdown on 14 carries against Morehouse out in Los Angeles.
Look at Williams right up the middle again. Wow! You think that free safety wants to hit him? He doesn't want to hit him. he does not want to hit him. I mean, you talk about Williams. Look at Williams going here up the middle, free safety. Ooh! But I will give credit to the Prairie View defender. He held his ground there. So the safety for Prairie View did a good job of holding his ground. But look at that collision between Zach East, the middle linebacker, and Ken Williams, the fullback.
Right. Yeah, and Zach East, the number 2 tackler for this team, but we have a penalty here. Well, let's listen to our referee Richard Drake trying to explain what's going on. But the ball has moved all the way down. Haven't heard him yet. There's been very few penalties in this game, which is a blessing. I still don't know what the call was. Did you hear?
I did not hear what the call is, but yeah.
They say maybe it was a little extracurricular activity after the play. Personal foul against Prairie View. But it moves the ball down to the inside the 40, and this pass on the outside is no good for Arsenault to gain anything. In fact, he loses about 4 yards. Let's look at the penalty after the run and the block by Ken Williams and the play by Cooper.
The play is clearly over, and anytime, they got
32 came in there.
32. And see, that's the problem.
Hakeem Muhammad.
He's got no business in that fray. The officials were going to turn their back if the two players tangled in the initial confrontation went at it. They probably will let that go. But once you're an outsider getting involved in, as my mom used to say, other people's business, they're going to call you for that flag all the time, and you just can't have that.
A loss of 4, second down and 14 on the flanker screen to Emmanuel Arsenault. And again, they keep the ball on the ground. Not much running room this time, as Marcus King was there defensively to stop the run of Michael Shepard.
And one thing about this Prairie View A&M defense, I mean, they're stout. You know, they'll tell you their weakness may be in the secondary. You can expose them a little bit. But in terms of the front seven, they've got some linebackers led by Zach East and those guys that can really get at it and chase down the football. So running the football against them can be difficult.
Number 99, Anthony Nunley, has checked into the defensive lineman for Prairie View, the junior out of Gardena, California, from Eastern Washington, transferred here from Southwest Los Angeles Community College. From the shotgun, pass zipped down the middle. That's a headache ball. Those are the type of passes that'll get your receiver coming back saying, why are you throwing that up there? Nate Hughes says, wait a minute, I am not Superman.
Yeah, I mean, it's a setup ball. One, the ball's high, and two, if it's a lower pass, he's still going to get drilled. I wonder if the quarterback really knew where the free safety was. He was lined up there in the whole play, and, you know, no points for style. Look at that. That's a duck up there in the air floating like that, a knuckleball, and you're going to get your wide receiver set up, and you're going to look bad like that, and that's just stuff you can't have. Quarterback's responsibility all the way. As a quarterback, I'm responsible for knowing where the free safety is at all times. If I'm going to throw the ball down the middle, I better make sure nobody's home.
After kicking a 23-yard field goal to open the scoring, Jonathan Williams, this will be the 4th straight time in which he's had to punt the ball away. He punts too much. He put too much leg in that one. He looked like he was trying to get it out in the parking lot. He turned like he was doing the coffin corner, but the coffin wasn't there. That's Tim Buckley, rather. But you know, one of the greatest players to play for Alcorn, quarterback Steve McNair, and you see the stats and numbers on him. He played for this Alcorn Braves team, and
4-time
I'm telling
SWAC player of the year.
Yeah, 4 times. I mean, that's hard to do, isn't it?
You don't see that anymore. So you're talking about, you know, he threw for over 14 G's, as they like to say, 14,000 yards,
and he's throwing very well now for the Ravens. His team is 4-0, and as you know, he's got his Ravens off to a 4-0 start. Only 2 other NFL teams unbeaten, the Bears and Colts. And Monday night they'll be playing the Denver Broncos, that is Steve McNair, on ESPN on Monday Night Football. So Steve McNair, how long do you think those numbers will hold up?
You know, you like to say forever, but now when you got all these Jerry Rice offenses.
We looked at Jerry Rice, and the kid went from Rhode Island or New Hampshire.
New Hampshire broke his record. And John Quay Nunley broke his reception record. I think with the spread offense coming more intact, because when Steve played around that era, 3 wide receivers was a big thing. Now you got 4 and 5 wide receiver sets all day long, so they seem like they're way out there, but you get the right guy, a kid like Tim Tebow in Florida, one of those offenses, they can come close to those records, and actually they will eclipse them in the next 5 to 10 years, I'm pretty sure.
2nd down and 10, little option to the left side, and again the defense of the Braves of Alcorn has been very, very stingy. You know, coming into this game, when you look at this Prairie View offense, and we talked about them needing to get the running game going with Fontenot, when you look nationally in 1AA, they were ranked 15th in run offense.
Yeah, but the problem was they were ranked 112th in pass offense.
Yes.
So they can't throw the ball. You can't be that one dimension. I mean, the days of the wishbone are over with. If you got active linebackers, you can really slow down the running game. So they've got to figure out a way to get some diversification in their offensive portfolio.
3rd and 11 for Prairie View. They are 0 for 4 in 3rd down conversions. The quarterback in trouble. Steps up, no protection and nowhere to throw it. He got his body squared to throw it, but there was no receivers open. I mean, everybody was covered downfield, so you could call that a cover sack, in addition to all the other pressure he had.
I mean, they came out with the plain cover 2, but he doesn't even have 2 seconds to throw the football. He's got to go to save his life mode, and then he's got all these other Alcorn State defenders swarming to the quarterback. So they played a vanilla cover 2, and he didn't have time to hit the tight end and running wide open down the middle of the field.
So to bring up another punting situation, we're all tied at 3 apiece with 6:38 to go in the first quarter. Another great punt. Look at the hang time on the foot of the punter there, Eric Hernandez. But look at the return by Nate Hughes. And that's what makes him such a dangerous return man. Brings it all the way down to the 34. And we'll be back. The night skyline of the city of Houston. We're northwest of the city, about 30 minutes. And we're in Cypress, Texas for college football prime time, this Thursday night edition of the Southwestern Athletic Conference matchup between Alcorn State and the Panthers of Prairie View A&M. And we're all tied at 3 apiece. First and 10, Alcorn at the 34 of Prairie View. Hobson rolling right, lets it go and has it to his fullback, the big fella, Ken Williams, trying to run over the defender, number 3, Val Ford there. Val Ford giving up about 90 pounds.
Yeah, you could tell Val Ford didn't want any of this contact here. Williams gets there. He's looking for somebody to hit. And Val Ford said, oh, I'm not hitting your high, big fella.
Yeah, take the legs from under him.
I'm taking your legs up front. You can be.
I got to get lower than you.
Exactly. Your knees don't weigh 258 pounds. Your body does.
It is first down and 10. Deepest penetration in a while for the Alcorn Braves. The last 3 possessions ended in punting situation as Cooper tries to turn the corner. Gets maybe a yard down to the 9 or make it the 10-yard line before he's brought down by Val Sallier, the linebacker.
That was a great play by Sallier there. You know, he had a lead blocker in front of him, but watch him disappear up in the fray and just explode out of the canyon. Once the running back tries to make a move, Sallier's got him locked on his radar screen and takes him down. Gain of 2.
It'll be second down and 8. 2 prior possessions wound up. That is Alcorn punting the ball. They stopped at their own 47. I should say the Prairie View 47 and the Prairie View 37. And again, Cooper going into the line, thrusting out of the tackle, and what a run, and he may have gotten in. Let's see. Touchdown. Touchdown. A 10-yard run for Varnadus Cooper, his 4th rushing touchdown this year, and what a determined effort. Somehow he broke out of the pack. He was stopped.
Yeah, it was will and determination. I mean, once people got contact on him, he kept his legs going, shoulder pads, and his balance on the inside trap. He'll slip inside of the guard, then bounce to the outside with a great spin move, stiff arm of the defensive back trying to make the tackle, and the extension to touch the pylon for the score.
Jonathan Williams for the point after. The kick is up, and the kick is good. So it's a 10-3 ball game right now. Here's Mr. Cooper, the junior from Greenwood, Mississippi. 4th rushing touchdown this year. Had 121 yards rushing a week ago against Morehouse in a touchdown. 2 straight games. He's put the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, that's definitely one you can put on your highlight reel because you show everything that coaches like to see. Making tackles miss, the Walter Payton stiff arm, and then the new school stretching the ball out there to get the pylon. And all you have to do is just touch the pylon with that football, and the officials got to give you credit for a touchdown.
Jason Fobbs was the man who was trying to keep him out of the end zone, but to no avail. As you look at the 3-play, 34-yard scoring drive that used 1:28 off the clock, and that was set up by the fine punt return by Nate Hughes of 24 yards.
Yeah, and everybody contributed on that drive. They got the punt return. They also got the great little bootleg action with the fullback Williams slipping out of the backfield. And then when they got in the red zone, you saw Cooper with some determined running. Great team offense by the Alcorn State Braves.
Don't forget, coming up at halftime or at Sports Center U, Mike Hall will be joining us, and he'll give us an update on that ACC matchup with Florida State and North Carolina State. A key injury update, plus Heisman sleepers. So stay with us for all that halftime activity. And here's a pretty good return for Prairie View. And again, we talked about the stories coming up at half. We have a player shaken up. Florida State, North Carolina State going at it. That game in Raleigh at Carter Finley Stadium. Key injury update. And any sleepers that you see on the Heisman list?
I mean, I think, you know, when you talk about sleepers, I think it's a matter of, I like the kid Slayton from West Virginia. I don't know how big of a sleeper you call him. He's a speed back, exciting to watch, and I think he's been a guy that's been key. But, you know, you take a look here and what's going on here. The slow, what happened with the, oh, he got the, oh, man, yeah. Yeah, anytime that neck, and, I mean, the way he went down did not look good, and the neck got exposed, and the knee just went straight to the helmet. Oh.
Clyde Mills, I believe, is the man shaking up. He's getting up. He's off on his own power. Looked like they may have given him a little smelling salts and jarred his memory. He jumped up pretty quick, didn't he?
He jumped up quick, and I'm glad to see him because I actually was nervous about that. When your neck gets exposed like that, you just don't know what can happen. It's a delicate part of the body, and to see him hop up like that, he might have been out on his feet when he got kneed in the helmet.
So from their own 47-yard line with 4:42 to go, trailing by a score of 10-3, Prairie View goes to work. See if they can do anything with it. The deepest penetration after their field goal on their second drive of 38 yards was to the 48-yard line. And let's see if they can get beyond the 48 now.
They try a little bit of trickery. So when things aren't going right offensively and you can't just play smash mouth football and get a long drive, offensive coordinators will try and bring out the gadget plays, and you'll see Prairie View there running the reverse and just couldn't even get that going there. So high risk, high reward, and right now it's not paying off for the Panthers offense.
And you see a shot there, Mark Butler, a junior. What a story on him, and we'll tell you about it after this play. It is 2nd down and 10. And off to Fontenot, trying the right side, and he is hit from behind and brought down after a gain across midfield of about 2 yards to the 49-yard line. And it was Martin Jackson who made the stop. But here's Mark Butler. The story on him is back last year when the hurricane was going on, Hurricane Katrina. Him along with the running back Varnadus Cooper were coming out of the cafeteria on the campus of Alcorn State, and they heard some noise, a tree, and they both started running. One went one way, one went the other. Tree fell on the gentleman there, Mark Butler. He wound up getting 5 metal plates in his face. That happened back on August 29th of last year, and stayed in the hospital for quite a while, getting all kinds of treatment. Lost a lot of weight, went from 235 all the way down to 180 pounds. In fact, Coach didn't even feel that he would ever play football again. He used to come into the office and talk to Coach, and Coach said, hey, he was acting a little strange. But when August came and they opened camp, he was out there and he's back playing. And what a success story and a revitalization story for a young man who came close to losing his life.
Yeah, I mean, to think about the strength it takes for a guy to have a tree hit you in your head and bust up your face, but yet you're strong enough mentally and physically to recover and come back almost as good as you were. Maybe some people would say better.
And it was an offsides play of Mr. Butler.
You know, and if he jumps offside, you can't blame him. I mean, he's got 5 plates in his head, so you got 5 metal plates in your head. Every now and then a couple things just won't go right every now and then.
Well, you know, to make matters worse, when all of that happened, his family was stuck in Macomb, Mississippi because of the hurricane, and couldn't even get to see him for a couple days after he had gotten injured. But the great part of that whole story was, you know, they had this story, this bond between friends on campus. As you look at the referee, Richard Drake, give us a signal saying, hold me up, hold me up. And as they're riding to the hospital in the ambulance, he was holding on to Varnadus Cooper's hand and saying, hold me up, hold me up. And, you know, those are the type of stories that make friends last forever. 1st down after the penalty. And here's Fontenot down to the 30-yard line. Close to the 30, close to another 1st down. That was a 1st and 5 play. Lee Robinson on the stop defensively.
Let's give credit to the offensive coordinator, Michael Bryant, for Prairie View A&M. He told us that we were going to see a lot of Fontenot, and so far in this first half, I think he's kind of forced the issue of telling the team, no matter what you want, we're not getting away from our game plan. Linemen, you better get your run blocking down because Fontenot's our guy, and we're going to ride him all the way to the finish line.
2 minutes left in the half as Fontenot trying to get to the 1st down marker, breaks a tackle, still on his feet inside the 25, down to the 28-yard line. Is Arnell Fontenot before Antonio Cooper made the stop defensively for the Braves of Alcorn.
Yeah, you know, and Fontenot's one of those guys, he's got that 1,000-yard potential. And anytime you have that on your offense, you got to find creative ways to get him the football and to let him do his thing basically as a running back. And what they've got to do for Prairie View is determine we got to get him 20 touches a game, and he can carry us to the finish line.
Prairie View came in 6th in the conference in scoring offense. And here's Fontenot off to the races again inside to the 15-yard line. A gain of about 7 or 8 yards on the play.
You know, what I like here is Alcorn State said we're going to put 8 people in the line of scrimmage so you can't run the ball on us. But look at the line for Prairie View. Still finding daylight for Fontenot to free himself there. So no matter how many people Alcorn State's putting in the box, the offensive line getting a body on the body, and Fontenot's going to take care of the rest.
Since 2002, 7 for 30 yards for Fontenot right now. There he is again, trying to get to the 10-yard line. Has the 1st down, so it'll be 1st and 10 at about the 11 with a minute to go in the first half.
And this has got to be, you know, depressing to the defensive coordinator for Alcorn. They've got 8 people on 6 people, and right now Prairie View's winning the battle on the line of scrimmage, able to run uphill and get positive yardage.
Now they have their timeouts left. All 3, that is Prairie View. Let's see if they use it. The clock is ticking with 45 seconds to go. Remember, with the rule, the clock starts immediately. The new rules this year. Here's a pass in the end zone, and it's knocked away, and it goes incomplete. Defending is Marvin Howard. The pass, correction rather, defending is Oliver Bozeman. The pass intended for Mark Eisen.
Yeah, Eisen started off in the slot and ran a fade route from the slot, giving him plenty of field to work with. You'd like to see the ball go a little bit more to the outside. He had the leverage position, and he went up hard, tried to get it. You know, when you get plays like that, one-on-one coverage reminds me of the game we used to play called 3 flies up. You know, you throw the ball up, and whoever wants it more can come down with it. In that case, call it a draw.
From the I formation, 34 seconds remaining. Clock stopped on that incompletion. Here's the quarterback getting to the corner and getting out of bounds to stop the clock with 27 seconds to go. And that was Chris Gibson being bounced out of bounds by Lester Mosley. Let's listen to the hit defensively. Now, Jay, you never got hit like that because you didn't run, did you?
No. And I'd be calling for a flag. I mean, that sounds like helmet-on-helmet contact there. That just did something about that sound. Just didn't sound right. But I would have been smart enough. You, as a quarterback, you know, you're more valuable to your team when you're in the pocket.
The only time I ever remember you running was an overtime game in which you beat the North Carolina A&T Aggies.
25 yards. You know,
25 yards in an overtime game to win it. Don't forget, coming up at halftime on SportsCenter U with my man Mike Hall and the gang at SportsCenter U, Florida State and North Carolina State, a big ACC matchup going on. A key injury update and the Heisman sleepers, some people who were not factored in early on in the season.
And you asked me about a sleeper earlier, and I started thinking about it during that break. I said, John David Booty. You know, you always got to have a quarterback in there. Booty's gone to Southern Cal, and they haven't missed a beat thus far, and he's actually lost his go-to wide receiver for a week, and Jarrett going down. So I think the play of Booty has been a surprise. And there's certain schools, if you go to and you play well, you automatically become a Heisman contender. You go to USC and you play well, you're a Heisman contender. And you go to Notre Dame and play well, you're a Heisman contender. And Booty's done a great job, and I think he's got an outside chance at sleeping the rest of the field if they can run the table.
You just made Jason Walls just very, very happy. Our director, 3rd down and goal, or 3rd and 6 it is. And here's the pitch to the outside, has a block, turn the corner, touchdown.
Bring it back.
But they're going to call a flag, and on the run was Calvin Harris.
Wide receiver holding on the outside.
Calvin Harris turned the corner, but hey, you got to do that, right?
You know, we had one-on-one in this case there. When you're outside there and the DB couldn't get away, you'll take a look here. Once the pitch is made, he's got one guy to beat outside with a block, but here comes the hold on the right side. He's not letting go of that jersey, and they're going to call that. The official was right there on the spot to realize he didn't let go of the jersey.
Richard Drake.
Holding 26 of the offense, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still 3rd down.
Well, he made a mistake on who was holding because the man who was carrying the ball was 26, Calvin Harris, so he didn't hold and score at the same time.
He can do a lot of things. I don't know if he can do that one, but yeah, it's actually 85. Sharon Harmon was on the outside. You know, that was one where, wow, you know, and you can't get that hold down there. And actually, I think the running back would have been able to get in there. Calvin Harris probably could have made a cut to cut up into the inside. I was going to say, he probably would have done something, but a running back normally in a situation like that is going to be determined. Well, more football coming your way here on ESPNU this weekend. A full day of college football. It begins in the Big Ten at noon Eastern. The Boilermakers of Purdue take on the 19th-ranked Hawkeyes of Iowa. It's homecoming in Iowa City. And then at 3:30, ACC rivals clash as the Terrapins of Maryland, they get the receiver back this week, face Calvin Johnson and the 18th-ranked Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, who's coming off of a big win over Virginia Tech. College football presented by Allstate on ESPNU Saturday. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. And here's some other things coming up this weekend. Hockey on Friday night, and then of course Saturday college football with 3 games. We'll conclude it with a Mid-American Conference game in Toledo, and then Saturday high school football, the top team in the nation, Concord de La Salle,
out of California. A couple California teams. 20 seconds remaining here. 10-3 our score. Prairie View trying to tie it up before the half. 3rd down. Pass. It goes incomplete. So to bring up a 4th down.
They had the matchup that they wanted. They had one-on-one coverage with Mark Eisen against an Alcorn defender, and it was one of those choice routes. He had the ability to go either inside or outside. He got confused and did a double move and confused his quarterback, and it was basically a miscommunication. Good job by the defensive back from Alcorn State of getting physical down in the red zone.
So they're going to go for the field goal. Hernandez, perfect tonight in the field goal department for Prairie View. 1 for 2 for the season. High snap is up. It looked like it was going to be blocked, and it is good. So Hernandez with the field goal.
How did he get that off?
I don't know. I don't know, because I swore that was going to be blocked.
I actually think he overran the ball.
He probably did.
I mean, take a look on the left side of your screen coming across there. He overran it. Poor angle. Poor angle. See, that's the thing we're talking about with these teams without winning records. He's got this. He comes untouched, high snap, and he jumps. And he jumped the ball.
He jumped before the ball was kicked.
Before the ball was kicked. I mean, he had it there. And wow, you know, you got to block that one. That could be one of those turning events where you block it and return it for a touchdown. And wow, but the teams that are struggling don't make the little things happen like that.
Now, this occurs with 10 seconds left in the half. And I'm sure when they kick, they're not going to kick it to Spiller, as they've been keeping him under wraps all afternoon.
Yeah, they've been squibbing, and and give credit to Hernandez, the kicker. He had the concentration to still just go through with his motion and put the ball through the uprights. But that's 2 bad plays there. I mean, it's bad protection, field goal protection by Prairie View A&M, and it's bad, wherewithal by the Alcorn State defense to overrun that. How often can you get it where you overload one side, you got a chance at a free block, and you just miss it?
That was Eric Relf, the man who overran it. So Hernandez with 2 field goals tonight, a 38-yarder and a 30-yarder. And this kick may go out of bounds, and it does. Remember, the clock starts with the new rule when the ball is kicked. So they've already clicked off 5 seconds.
Yeah, it flies, and that's a good rule change. I really do like it. Make the collegiate game a little bit more in line with the NFL game, and don't allow 2 minutes to take 10 minutes by an incomplete pass and all that other good stuff there. So it's helping the kids. They don't see it, and the offensive numbers will go down a little bit, but it is helping the kids out. This is the difference now with the new rule change. The half is over now. They ran out of time. They had 5 seconds. They set it. They didn't break the huddle.
Right.
Into the half.
And the half is over. So at halftime here in Cypress, Texas, in this SWAC matchup, a couple of field goals, 1 touchdown so far this evening. The only one was a run of 10 yards by Cooper for Alcorn. We're going to go to the studio with Mike Hall at SportsCenter U.